Hey guys, it's Sherry Capella, and welcome today to day number 23 of 100 Ways to Motivate Yourself by Stephen Chandler, How to Change Your Life Forever. So, yesterday's was awesome. If you missed yesterday's was called Kill Your Television. And for those of us who are completely glued to our TV, this was awesome. So if you didn't hear yesterday's, go back and listen. So today is called Break Out of Your Soul Cage. And this was no exception. This was amazing. In fact, almost, my life story. So I'm just going to dive right in and share my notes with you. So day 23, Break Out of Your Soul Cage. The author in this particular point talks about how society teaches us, or rather encourages us, to seek out comfort. In fact, biologically, we're actually programmed to be, we're actually wired psychologically and biologically to seek out comfort as a defense mechanism. It just, it keeps us, the brain knows it helps our subconscious to automate things that, we don't always have to, keep figuring new things out. Our brain likes easy, so it's going to seek easy. So it's very natural for us to want to constantly do what is in our comfort zone. Yet, despite the fact that our brain only wants us to be in our comfort zone and we enjoy and like being in our comfort zone, the only time we grow is when we challenge ourselves. And by challenging ourselves, it causes us to grow. Just like a muscle. The more you challenge a muscle, the more you cause it to grow. So if you find that you are stuck in your life and you just can't change something that you want to change, or you keep, sabotaging yourself, you need to discern whether or not you've been buried alive in your comfort zone. I love that. Because it's so easy to do that, go to work, go to school, whatever your daytime routine is, come home and just crash out on the couch and totally veg in front of your TV. I mean, it's so easy to do that, but you need to start questioning that and break out of your comfort zone. He says that you should use your comfort zone to rest in, but not to live in. Living in your comfort zone traps you in a metaphorical soul cage. And so here are some ways, some really quick trick ways to kind of, take a look at how you can start pushing the limits of your comfort zone. Something small would be like in the morning, take a different route to work. Just as a way to, step outside of it and see how uncomfortable it feels. It's going to feel uncomfortable, but it's one way. Another way would be like, just going to the gym. If your brain has been saying, go get on the treadmill, your soul knows that it needs to get out of the soul cage that you've put it in. Go do it. I'll give you an example, a personal example of how I stepped out of my soul cage. So from the minute I graduated high school, bam, I got out of town. I just flew the coop, and I was not somebody who was brought up to travel to different places, to talk to strange people, to have the confidence I had. Yet it came naturally because I started to just realize that if I wanted something, I had to realize that where there was fear, that was the direction I needed to go in. And so I constantly embraced challenges. I didn't embrace my comfort zone. And I mean, I don't want that to sound like, oh, I'm always out of my comfort zone. That is not the truth. That is not the case at all. I'm constantly in my comfort zone, but I'm constantly aware of the fact that I need to keep pushing the limits on myself if I want to actually grow. Like, for example, doing 100 days of motivation on Facebook, that's not my comfort zone. I like to quit things. So for me to repeatedly have to show up for 100 days in a row and do this and have that commitment to you guys is teaching me commitment to myself. And so, you can find little ways where psychologically you can kind of use reverse psychology on yourself. If I tell all my Facebook friends, hey, I'm going to go live for 100 days and I don't, it's going to start looking like it's decrediting me. It's taking me down a notch, and I don't want to be that way anymore. So I'm stepping out of my comfort zone. There are two things that I have found that stepping out of your comfort zone teaches you. And I learned this when I ran a 5K 2 years ago with a bunch of my girlfriends. I didn't like running, and I thought for sure I was going to be the one that they were dragging through the mud pit and pushing over the walls, because I thought for sure I was not going to make it. But I was a cheerleader. I was an advocate. I ran out there and I knew my kids were going to be watching, you guys, and I just pulled through despite not being in my comfort zone and wearing a tutu and climbing a wall and going through a pond swamp and all that stuff. Not my comfort zone at all. My hair didn't look pretty. Things were jiggling. No, it wasn't good. But I went out of my comfort zone and it taught me two things. It taught me, number one, that I'm limitless, that I can do anything I set my mind to. And number two, what my boundaries are. Just because I told myself I don't like to run, how did I really know I didn't like to run? How did I really know I didn't like to do a 5K obstacle mud run thing? How did I know that? I had never done one. And so now that I did one, number one, I learned I'm limitless because I can do it. Not only did I teach myself that, but I showed my kids. I mean, that was the best example for my kids. But it also showed me, yeah, I hate running. So it taught me my boundaries. You know, it showed me I'm limitless, but I have boundaries, I have preferences, and it's okay to live within those, especially when we have informed insight surrounding what it is that we're not doing and why. So my advice to you is, if there's something that scares you, that's something you're supposed to run toward. And to know that all you're going to do is gain insight from it, and information is power. And the parting quote I want to leave you with is from one of my favorite authors, Dr. Neil Donald Walsh. And he says, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. So assess whether or not you need to start walking toward what it is that you need to do in order for you to become the person you were meant to be. Have a great day.